Hi, hello everyone. I am Dr. D. Muniswamy, working as Assistant Professor of Economics. Today we are going to discuss about the classical theory of employment, particularly JBC law markets. So, in macroeconomics, full employment theory, employment and output theory, there are several theories were discussed by many people. These theories were divided particularly into two categories. One is classical approach and another is modern approach. Classical approach model is known as classical theory, and modern approach theory particularly called Keynesian theory of employment and output theory. Okay, in the classical theory approach, many people, many economists, they discussed about the employment theories, that is particularly full employment theories. Among them, JBC is one of the prominent person, and AC Pigu is also one of the most important prominent persons. Okay, in this class, the classical approach, particularly the JBC law market, we are going to be discussed particularly. Okay, here the classical approach, there are many theories developed by the classical economists, but all the classical theories, they developed based on the assumptions only. Without assumptions, no classical theory were not developed. Okay, here this theory also, classical theory of full employment theory, also developed based on the assumption. What is that assumption? Full employment is assumption. According to the classical approach, all countries are having the full employment. According to these people, no country will not having the employment problem. No country is not having the unemployment issues, because all the countries were having the full employment. If any country is having the unemployment issue or problem, that is only temporary, not a permanent. The permanent is full employment. Unemployment is a what is called a temporary issue. But whereas modern approach view was different. According to modern economist, that is particularly J.M. Keynes, John Maynard Keynes, this is all the countries, maybe developed countries or developing countries, all the countries always they will have the underemployment. That means unemployment problem is common in all the countries, it may be developed countries or developing countries. Full employment will not have in any country. Okay, always the countries will have the underemployment. That is the concept of the modern approach. Okay, but the classical approach is completely different. The classical approach, their view is the countries are having always with full employment. Underemployment problem is not there in any country. It may be capitalist country or socialist country. It may be developed country, it may be developing country. Okay, no country will not have the underemployment issue. So that's why this theory, that is classical theory, is also known as full employment theory. Actually, it is called classical theory of employment. But here According to these people, all the countries will have always the full employment. That's why this is known as the classical theory of full employment. And also output, because employment always will be decided by the output. Please remember, if you want to get the employment, definitely there should be production. Without production, without work, without production of goods and services, without output, no employment generation. So, employment generating nothing but here the people are producing something. Every person is a producer here. According to the classical approach, please remember, every person is a producer and every person is a buyer. Here there are only two things in this concept. One is consumption market and another is investment market. Consumption nothing but buying. Consumption nothing but purchasing. Consuming nothing but we have to purchase the goods and services. No? So, that is demand. Demand nothing but purchasing. Purchasing goods and services and consuming. And another sections of the people is producing goods and services. That is nothing but firm. Nothing but investment. So, that's why one person is investing, producing goods and services and selling in the market. And another person is buying, that is demanding the goods and services, purchasing goods and services and consuming the goods and market. That's why only we have the purchasing market, that is consumption market, which is called household, and another is producing market, which is called investment market, or firm, that is called industry market. In the simple language, we can say that buyer and seller. One is a seller and one is a buyer. Suppose I am a seller, you are a buyer. Okay, I am selling the commodity, you are buying the commodity. When you are selling some commodity, I am buying the commodities. Okay, this is the main important concept in the classical theory. Here one more point, please remember that according to the classical approach, no person is not having the saving. All the people, whatever the income receiving, that total income is spending to purchase goods and services. No concept of saving here. Please remember, modern view is different. Modern approach is different. According to the modern theory, whenever the people are receiving the income, out of their income, some amount using for the consumption, that is to purchase goods and services, and the some amount also using for the future purpose. Future purpose nothing but saving. Okay, according to the modern approach, we have the consumption plus saving concept. But here, according to the classical approach, no saving. Whatever the amount we are receiving, the total amount I am spending. See, for example, I am working somewhere. By working some company, I am getting some amount per month. Take for example 10,000 rupees I am getting per month. This total 10,000 amount I am using for the purchasing only. I am not using this amount for the future purpose. That is, I am not going to saving amount. Whatever the amount received by me this month, the total amount I am spending. That means the total amount I am using to purchase goods and services only. So, that's why the concept of money using for only medium of exchange. Medium of exchange. Exchange nothing but selling and buying, giving and taking. For that purpose only we are using the money. We are not saving anything. So, these are the things you try to remember when you are talking about this classical approach, that is classical theory. Okay, according to this classical approach, say already I told you, always the full employment exists without inflation. No inflation here. Here the no inflation. Why there is no inflation? Because there is no scarcity of the production in the country. There is no surplus of the production in the country. How much production output is required, the same amount of the goods only we are producing in the country. Okay, when the goods, the supply is equal to demand, demand and supply both are same, the price will not go up or price may not be decreases. What is inflation? Inflation nothing but prices are increasing continuously. Why the prices are increasing? Here there is mismatching between demand and supply. That means the demand is more than the supply. For example, I am a supplier, I am a seller, I have only 10 commodities with me. But in the market, there are people came to me to purchase 20 commodities. When the people came to market to purchase 20 commodities, when I am having only 10 commodities with me, what I will do? Definitely I will try to increase price because I have more demand for my commodities. So, like that the prices will increase. So, if the demand is more than the supply, automatically the prices will go up. So, according to the classical approach, demand and supply always same. How much supply is there, in the same way only demand is there. Let's say example, suppose supply means production. Suppose I produced 10 commodities. I produced 10 commodities. When I produce 10 commodities, the same 10 commodities I am sending market to the selling. After producing these 10 commodities, some people received 100 rupees in the name of rent, in the name of wages, in the name of interest, in the name of the profit. People received some amount. So, that is, let's say example 1000. Production cost is 1000. The same 1000 received by some other people. What that 1000 amount is using by that people? The total 1000 amount using to purchase only. Means all are the total amount is spending to purchase only. That is the thing here. Okay. Actually, in the national income, there are two concepts, market price and factor cost. Means taxes concept will be there, subsidies concept will be there. But in the classical approach, please remember one more point, there is no government. Government will not be there here. Okay. Particularly, according to the classical people, the economy will be run with the invisible hand. Okay, maybe some other people, we don't know who are running. Maybe in our language we can say that God. Maybe that thing is not told by that people, but some other people without knowing me, some other people is running the system, means we will say maybe God or some other people, some invisible hand is running the system. Okay, that is the belief of the classical people. No government is there. Laissez-faire system. You may have idea about the laissez-faire system. What is the laissez-faire? Free hand. Government will not interfere in the economic activities is called laissez-faire. That means no government here. If there is no government, no taxes, no automatically. If there is no government, no subsidies will no. If no taxes, if no subsidies, is there any difference between factor cost and market price? In the earlier classes, we may know about the factor cost and market prices. Okay, there is a difference between factor cost and market price because tax and subsidies. Here, since there is no government, no taxes and no subsidies, if there is no tax and no subsidies, automatically there is no difference between factor cost and market price. That means whatever the seller is deciding the price, the same amount will be paid by the consumer only. Market price and factor cost will be the same. So, that is also one of the important, these are the assumptions will assumed by the classical people. Based on that assumptions only they developed the theory. Without that assumptions, no theory was there, please remember. Okay, that's why since there is a supply equal to demand, there will not be inflation in the country. Without inflation, there will be full employment always in the country. If any producer, without knowing the demand in the market, produced surplus, immediately you will try to correct, you will try to reduce the production. Suppose I don't know how much goods are going to be buy by the people in the market. I produced 20 commodities, but unexpectedly people came to the market to purchase only 15 commodities. I have 5 commodities surplus. Immediately I will try to decrease 5 commodities to tomorrow production. Like that, immediately I will make the correction. Okay, so that is the only short term measures only, short-term problem only. But in the long run, always there will be full employment without inflation, because in the long run, aggregate demand always equal to aggregate supply. The full employment is a normal situation according to the classical approach, please remember. It is a normal situation. Unemployment is an abnormal situation. Abnormal means maybe unexpectedly unemployment problem maybe rises, but that problem if rises immediately, the government is not there, please remember. Immediately, automatically the capitalist, that is a producer, automatically he will correct by matching the demand and supply, or increasing the supply or decreasing the supply. So based on this one, automatically the market is going to get the equilibrium. Okay, so it is a normal situation. Full employment is a normal situation, and deviation from this level is something abnormal, which automatically tends towards the full employment, what already we discussed. So these are the assumptions already we discussed. There will be full existence in the market without inflation. There will be laissez-faire theory. What is called laissez-faire theory concept was developed by Adam Smith, who is known as father of economics. According to Adam Smith, there will be laissez-faire theory. Laissez-faire nothing but government will not interfere in the economic activity. The government will take only defense, that's all. In the production, in the employment, in the investment, government will interfere, will not be there. Okay, today in the capitalist economy, you take example the capitalist economy like America, you take example India also. Today almost in the many aspects we have the privatization. Okay, the employment is generating the private sector, investment is there in generating in the private sector, supply, demand, everything is doing by the demand, only government is a facilitator. Of course, our is not completely laissez-faire government, please remember. We have the government control in the country, but in the capitalist countries, so maximum the government control will not be there in the economic activity. You take example America, Japan, these countries, government will interfere, nothing will be there in the economic activities. Their duties were different. I am talking about laissez-faire only in the economic system. I am not talking about the political system or society something. So since we are economic students, in economic system, we have to think about in the economic way. In economic, government interference will not be there. That is the Adam Smith theory, that the same theory was applicable or assumed. Based on that assumption only, this classical theory was developed. The perfect competition in the labor and product market. Perfect competition. That means perfect competition nothing but here, please remember, uniform price for all product. Uniform, identical commodities, that is called homogeneous commodities. No differences in the production. If there is no differences in the production, automatically there will not be any changes in the prices. All the prices are equal. So that is the thing. And here there is no taxes. Since there is no government, no taxes, no transport cost. All these things were not included according to this theory, please remember. The total output of the economy is divided between consumption and investment only. Already I told you, we have only two systems. One is consumption and another is investment. One is household, another is firm. One is demand, another is only supply. These are the only two things we can see when we are talking about this theory. Labor are homogeneous. All laborers in the country are having the same skill. That's why automatically all are paying equal payment. Okay, all are producing the equal quantity of the output. The quantity of the money is given, and money is only medium of exchange. Okay, here the money is there in the country, but the money using only for the which purpose? Medium of exchange. Medium of exchange nothing but purchasing goods and services. For that purpose only we are using, that's all. To purchase goods and services only we are using. That is the only thing what we are going to see here. And wages and prices are flexible. Okay, based on the availability of the money only wages will be decided. This is one actually dangerous things actually. For example, here wages will not decided based on the demand, based on the availability of the fund with the investor, the wages will be decided. Suppose I am the investor, I have 1000 rupees for the investment. I have 1000 rupees for the investment. Okay, this 1000 rupees I am using for the payment of the labor. For example, there are 10 laborers in the company. I have 1000 rupees with me for the payment of labor, 10 people are working. So, I am paying this 1000 rupees equal amount for all. That means how much will get, each person will get 100 rupees. Suppose tomorrow, if the unemployment increases in the country, what the system will adjust here? Unemployment increases, I will employ 2 more people in company. That means 12 people came to the company. But I am not increasing my investment from 1000 to 1200. What I am doing? With the same 1000 rupees, I am giving salary for these 12 people. That means salaries are decreasing there. Please remember, that's why I am saying here, flexible. Prices are flexible. If it is required, going to be increases or decreases. Suppose I have 1000 rupees, only 8 people are working. I am distributing this 1000 rupees among 8 people only. Okay, like that the wages are flexible, which is based on the availability of the fund allotted for the investment, that is wage investment only. Okay, money wages and real wages are directly related and proportionate. Generally, money wages, real wages are different. Like when we are talking about the national income, there is a concept of real income and nominal income. Nominal income means the price with the current year. Okay, real means base year. So here also, but here since there is no inflation, your point is there is no inflation in the country. Since there is no inflation, the real and nominal both are same automatically. Real wages and money wages. Real nothing but base year. Money nothing but nominal. Both will be same because no inflation. This why money wages and real wages are same. We have to remember that because no inflation. That is what we are saying. No, since no inflation, both are same. Capital stock and technological knowledge are given in the short run. Only short run. We are not talking about the long run. This theory. Okay, in the short run means no changes. That is what I am saying here. Capital stock is not going to change. How much amount we are having, that the same amount we are using for the production. Not increasing, not decreasing. There is no technical progress here. Whatever the technology we have, the same technology we are producing we are using in the same year. So that is called short run. With these assumptions, this theory was actually developed by these classical people. Okay, here according to the classical people, already I told you there are 2 important people who discussed about this classical theory mainly. There are various theories were there actually, but among them the 2 important people are very important. One is J.B. Say, one is important person and another is A.C. Pigou. But here we are talking about the J.B. Say theory. So Jean-Baptiste Say, popularly known as J.B. Say, is a French economist actually. Okay, French economist. He developed full employment theory, which is called a classical approach. So almost which is based on the Adam Smith analysis, that is mercantilism. One concept was there in the economics. Generally, that is not required here. So the almost it is related to the mercantilism, which was developed by many people in the French countries actually. So among them, of course, is also one of the person who also discussed about the full employment and output theory. This is also called full employment output. Employment output, that is production theory, also called this one. Okay, this law was named after this J.B. Say. That's why it is called J.B. Say law of market. Okay, classical theory approach of full employment is also called JBC law of market because it was developed after his name. Okay, according this law, according this JBC, that is a law of market. Law of market developed by JBC, no? Okay, according this classical approach, there is a famous quotation that supply creates its own demand. It's very important. It is a deadly against to the modern approach. Modern approach people developed this is as demand creates its own supply. Please remember, here what the classical people are saying, supply creates demand. Supply creates its own demand. But the modern people are saying that demand creates its own supply. It is opposite direction it was there. Okay, first classical people told, what they told, supply creates its own demand. But this was criticized by the J.M. Keynes, that is in the modern approach. He was developed, generally the concept of the supply creating the demand is wrong. It is not proved. Because of this statement, all the countries framed the policies. Based on that policies, countries were run the economy. But because of that policies, in 1930s, economy was went under the economic depreciation. You know, in 1929-30s, there was a great economic crisis in the world, not only India. Except Russia, all the countries, America and Japan, England, France, all the countries underwent the great economic crisis because all the countries they followed this concept called supply creates its own demand. How the supply creates its own demand? Actually, the classical people are saying that how the supply creates are demanding means if investor increase the production, supply nothing but production, no? If the investor increase the production increasing nothing but he is investing money. By investing money, increasing the production. Increasing the production nothing but what is the important? Automatically the people will get the employment automatically. Okay, to produce any goods and services, people should be work. Employment will be generated. If the people will get the employment, they will get the income. Okay, because of the increase in the production, that is increasing the supply, production is increasing. Because of the increasing in the production, employment is generating. If the employment generates, automatically the people will get the income. If I will get the employment, automatically I will have the income, no? If you will get the employment, automatically you will have the income. So the people income will increases. If the people income increases, what they will do? Automatically that people will use that money to purchase goods and services, which is called demand. So that's why if the supply creates, automatically demand creates in the country. Because according to classical people, there is no people are not going for the saving. Whatever the amount receiving by the people, they are using for the spending, means demand. Spending, consumption, demand, all are similar words, synonymous. Okay, that's why supply creates its own demand. In that way, the classical approach was developed actually. Okay, this law was applicable to barter economy. Barter nothing but barter system, you know. Barter system nothing but exchange of good for another commodity. Means here, I am giving money to get only commodity, other than that we are not using money for any other purpose. Already I told you, money in the country using for the only exchange purpose. Money using only medium of exchange, that is called barter system. Barter also exchange system only. So the money using for the only barter system where goods are ultimately sold for goods. Okay, good, we are giving good and taking good. Okay, goods are exchanging. This is called barter system. In the same way the system was developed. Okay, according to this law market, that is JBC law market, there will be perfect competition market in the country. That means all the laborers are having the homogeneous system. Homogeneous only, you know. So that's why every good brought to the market and creates a demand for some other goods. Okay, all are producing the same identical product. After producing goods and services, they are bringing to the market and ultimately selling. And whatever the income receiving by the employers or workers, without using for the future purpose, the same amount, total amount using for the purchasing, that is consumption. So that's why the amount is going for the consumption and amount is going for the investment. Okay, this classical people, they concerned the particular good may be overlapped. If any person, producer invested the money more surplus production, automatically they will adjust. Already we discussed. So it is a only temporary adjustment to only what we can say. No saving concept. No production for the supply, and supply always equal to demand. Overproduction or scarcity of the production is only in short term. Okay, in the classical, just you see this one, JB say it is called circular flow of the market. Already we discussed that we have only two markets, that is called household market and investment market only. From the household, factors of production is going to firm, and in the firm goods are producing, the same goods are coming to the again household, and households are receiving the income by working in the company, and the same amount is spending to purchase goods and services from the industry. So this is called circular flow of the market. This is called a classical approach of the full employment discussed by the JBC. Thank you. Thank you.